Hello, Gila. Welcome. Welcome.
Oh, hello.
Thank you for your pre-session form. So you said today you want to work on business. So before we go into the specific business challenge you want to work on, your business, your whole thing, that whole thing, what's that like?
It's lots of moving pieces.
Cool. What's to your left?
To the left is a big puzzle,
Mhm.
and a lot of the pieces are in place, but there's, like five pieces left. I'm still trying to figure out what to do.
Okay, cool. Five pieces left. And you say it's a big puzzle. So some puzzles are like on a table. Like how? Where is that pillars? Like on the floor, on the wall puzzle?
Feels like it's on the wall.
Okay, so you've got a puzzle on the wall, and is it like a
Mhm.
jigsaw kind of puzzle?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Okay. So
Mhm.
we've got a jigsaw puzzle on the wall, very nearly there, but you've got five pieces left. And where are those five pieces that are left?
They're on the floor.
Okay. And what's to your right?
To my right feels like some sort of it's like one of those trifold screens,
Mhm.
like someone would have like a screen, like a you see them like in Asian countries, like the screen, like a trifold
Oh, like
wall
something that
divider.
people would get changed behind, that kind of screen.
Yeah, like a wall divider. Yeah.
Cool. Is it flat or is it like slightly in and out like it would be
It's
fixed?
doing its little zigzaggy bendy thing.
Cool. Okay, cool. And what's in front of you?
In front is it's like a big jetliner, like a big airplane.
A big
And
jet lag.
it's up in the clouds, and then you can see the earth, the down below, you can see kind of the outline of the trees and roads, things like that. So it's not so high in the sky that you can't see some of the earth patterns below.
Cool. So this jetliner, which direction is it flying relative to you?
It's flying straight away.
So it's going away from you. So you've got a
Hmm.
jetliner flying away from you. It's not that high up in the air.
I mean,
Um,
it's high up. It's just not at 30,000 feet yet.
okay, cool. So it looks. Is it recently taken off, or is it coming into land?
It's taking off.
Okay. Okay, cool. And what's behind you?
Behind me feels like something that's applying pressure. There's like a person who is driving like a tractor of sorts, but the tractor has narrow wheels.
Okay, so there's a person driving a tractor. When you say narrow wheels, what do you mean?
Well, where I live, we have tractors with really fat wheels and ones with narrow wheels. And the narrow wheels can kind of move a little more nimbly. So they're not like 4 or 5 feet wide. They're more like 2 feet wide.
Okay, so it's a small. It's a
Yeah.
smaller tractor. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And you say that it's like applying a pressure.
Yeah. There's a bunch they've gathered, whoever the person has gathered a bunch of like earth. Like they scooped up a bunch of earth and it's kind of pushing behind me. And when I look up, it's a pretty big mound.
Okay, so there's a big mound of earth. Gonna screw where I put my puzzle pieces, but it's all good. Okay, cool. And so essentially, the tractor's not pushing you forward, but the mound of earth is pushing you forward that the tractor is pushing.
Yes.
Cool. And are you pushing against it, or is it like pushing you forward? Like how is it pushing you
Yeah.
forward?
It's pushing me forward.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. What's up?
Just birds flying in the sky, like big birds that kind of have their wings outspread.
Okay, cool. And what are you standing on?
I'm standing on like it's like a circular, you know what a lazy Susan is?
Rings a bell, yeah.
So it's a round, you have it on the dinner table and it's round and you put things on it and then you can spin it.
Oh, like they have in those like Asian restaurants.
Yeah. So I'm standing on one of those. So I can spin. It's like I'm spinning. I'm getting the pressure from behind, but I can also spin on it. And I'm spinning. Not fast, but it's yeah.
So you're standing on a lazy Susan. And what's underneath the lazy Susan?
Just a hard packed dirt, like just the ground is solid.
Okay, cool. So this is my.
Okay.
So what we got is, so you're there. It's a bit convoluted. So you've got a jigsaw to your left, but there's 5 jigsaw pieces on the floor. To
Mm-hmm.
your right is a trifold screen. In
Mm-hmm.
front of you is like an aeroplane that's relatively taken off. You can still see the fields and the trees, so it's not 30 feet up in the air. Directly behind you is dirt, a big pile of earth, and behind
Mm-hmm.
that is a tractor that's pushing it forward, quite a narrow
Right.
tractor. And
Mm-hmm.
you're standing on a lazy Susan, and there's
Yep.
birds up in the air.
That's it.
Cool. Lovely. How many birds?
3.
3. Lovely. Cool. So that's what the whole of your business is like. Now, you came to me with a specific sort of context, and yeah, it was around a specific project, if I understand. So that whole project, that whole thing, what's that like?
That is like that's like a lot of moving parts. The other one's pieces. This is more like there's parts, a bunch of moving parts.
Okay, cool. What's to your left?
To the left is a table, like a workbench with like mechanical parts on it.
Okay.
I'm not going to make this easy for you to draw, Dale.
No problem. No problem. Go improve my artwork skills. So it's like a workbench with components. You say
Yeah, like just mechanical parts and tools.
parts and tools.
Hmm.
Cool. What's to your right?
To my right feels like a kind of like a comfortable couch. There's an
Mhm.
ottoman there. There's a book on the couch.
And is the couch parallel to you, or is it okay?
Yeah.
Cool. What's in front?
In front is a path. It winds a little bit and it's lined with trees. The sun is
Cool.
shining.
And what is behind you?
It's pressure again,
Mm-hmm.
but this time it feels more like it's like my back is up against a big tree, and if I look up, it's just a really big tree, and it feels like the tree is being blown towards me. So I have to. The pressure is coming behind, but it's more from a big tree
Cool. What
that
sort of
is.
tree? Is it like an oak tree, fir tree?
Yeah, you could say oak tree.
Cool. Cool. And cool. What you standing on?
I'm standing on very solid ground. It's like it's rock but smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's up?
What's up is like a flock of birds.
Cool. Cool. Of birds. Lovely. Cool. So in this situation, so in front of you is a windy path with trees. To your right is let's put a couch, so we know what that is. It was a comfy couch, right?
It is a comfy couch.
Oh, it is that couch comfy.
A couch is calling.
Cool. To your left is tools and parts. Behind you is a big oak tree. You're standing on a smooth rock, and up is a flock of birds.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Now, you mentioned regarding this specific challenge that it's something you keep putting off.
Yes.
So, and yeah, so putting off, what's that like?
Putting things off is like riding a bicycle where the chains come off. And
Okay,
so your wheels are spinning, but you're not going anywhere.
my wheels are spinning.
My wheels are spinning. My wheels are spinning.
Okay, cool. What's to your left?
A big open field.
Cool. What's to your right?
A big wall.
What's in front?
Kind of like a fog, like a really thick, dense fog.
Mm-hmm. And what's behind you?
Behind me is just a bunch of it's a big open space, but it's kind of dark. So it's like nighttime.
So it's like a big dark nighttime behind you.
Yeah. Hmm.
What are you standing
It's
on?
like the open field to the left, but it's just nighttime. It's dark.
Okay. Cool. And what are you standing on?
Well, I'm riding that bicycle with the chain off. So it's like I'm trying to balance while the chain and just the pedals are spinning, but they're not going anywhere.
Okay, cool. So now I've got to try and draw a bicycle. Okay, cool. So you're on a bicycle, and essentially, so you're balancing on this bicycle, but the chain is essentially not connected. So you can
Correct.
pedal all you like, but is
Yeah.
the chain anywhere?
It's just hanging. You know how a chain will hang on a bicycle once it's come off. So yeah,
Okay, cool.
it's just hanging there.
Chain hanging. And what's up?
More sky, like nighttime sky. Just a bunch of stars, nighttime.
Lovely. So essentially in front of you is essentially a thick dense fog. To your right is a big wall. To your left is a big open field. Behind you is nighttime sky, dark field. You're on a bicycle that has no chain and you're balancing.
Yep.
Are your feet on the floor?
Yeah, I think they are actually.
Huh. Lovely, cool. And we'll do one last one, and I think we'll be there. Actually, maybe we don't need to. Let's give it a whirl just in case. So you talked about how you keep going round and round about essentially charging and finances around what you want to put out this product for. So going round and round about what you should charge, what's that like?
That feels like I'm standing in the center and there's a mirror, like a tall mirror here and a tall mirror here, one behind me and one behind me.
So as opposed to front, left, right, back, it's in the opposite corners, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's like right front, left
Left,
front,
front. Okay, cool.
right back, left back.
And all of those mirrors are pointing at you.
Yes.
Cool. And what's in front?
In front again is just a big path,
Okay,
tree
cool.
lined.
Cool. And what's to your right?
It just feels like an unknown, like it's just open.
Cool.
Same to the left. It just feels like on the other side of the mirrors, even behind me, there's just this big open, empty space.
Unknown. And what are you standing on?
Hard surface, just something hard and
Wood,
solid.
wood, concrete, stone, cheese.
Oh, it's like that polished concrete. You ever seen when they concrete floors that they polish and make all buffed out?
What's up?
Kind of like a cloud, but it's not a dark cloud. It's just a big cumulus, puffy white cloud.
Nebulous. I did actually have a bit of a bet. I wanted to. I said nebulous today, and my wife's like, "That's a great word." I'm like, "I'll incorporate it into my session," and you've given me the opportunity. So I win. I win. Lovely. Okay, cool. So essentially, there you're standing. mirror right in front, mirror left in front, left behind, right behind, unknown space all around, cloud up, and the path in front, and you're on a polished concrete platform.
Yeah, and
Lovely.
there's trees lining that path as well,
Very important.
if that matters.
Clearly, because you brought it up. It's all good information. So, where shall we begin? Where shall we begin? Where shall we begin? Well, let's finish on the problem. It's like, when you're looking for like people to date, they say, the one that you went with is always the last one. The solution that you find that works is always the last solution. It's like the metaphor you always come to is always the right solution. Cool. So let's do the whole thing. So clearly, you got a lot going on. There's a lot going on in this. So what's left for you? There's a few pieces left for you. There's a few pieces of the puzzle. Now, what's the jigsaw's on a wall, you say? Okay. So if anything, you can look at what's right. If anything, you put together what's right, left, sorry. You put together what's left. There's a few pieces that are left over to one side. And it could be said that you could really complete what's left for you if you were to just reach down to grasp those leftover pieces. But the trouble is that would take you away from the current position you've got. Now, in the current position, you've got a full 360-degree view of where you're at. I mean, your understanding might be said to be quite oriental. I don't know if that's correct, but you can see everything. But by taking steps in that direction, if you were to explore what's left, you would no longer be progressing. You'd no longer be going forward because you'd need to sidestep things in order to put those final pieces together. Now, I don't know if whatever's driving you from behind would take a break, but it could be if you were to explore what's left, you might lose the drive altogether. Oh, wait, in this, you don't have the drive. Somebody's driving this for you.
Okay.
Now, and what's interesting is there's something quite grounding, there's something quite earthy about the drive that you think you've got that's behind you. But actually, no, there's a machine that's driving the grounding that's got your back.
Okay.
Now, there is a bit of a screen to what's right. I don't know if there's things that have changed behind what's right for you. But realistically, what's right for you could also collapse. It could be put down. Right now it's standing, but it's only by the angles and directions of which it's placed that what's right is supported. And if you were to progress in the right direction, things could maybe fall over, things could fall down.
Okay.
And depending on if there's anything on the other side of that, I mean, it could be quite a sight. But I mean, you look up to being a high flyer. You look up to going places, you see stuff going. But at the same time, what you look up to is also getting further and further away from you. It's launched. It's up there. I mean, it's not so far up there. But if anything, you're still grounded and down to earth.
Okay.
Now, the other question to consider is, do you look up to going places? Do you look up to maybe traveling around the world? Do you look up to, I don't know, being the pilot, choosing the direction, charting the course? Because those people have got to do a lot of different things. Or are you just looking up to being a passenger? Nothing wrong with either. But realistically, the position you've got allows you to see everything, but you're not really in control of the direction in which you take. The drive that you have is not yours. It's from the machine that's in the background slowly pushing you forward. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, tractors are pretty reliable. They're pretty strong. They're pretty sturdy. Then it'll take you forward at a pretty slow pace, but it's reliable. And you've got all of this grounding to back you up.
Okay.
So what's quite interesting about this is there's a lot of different aspects to metaphor. So for example, we've got two different modes of transportation. So tractor is normally agricultural, so it represents maybe a cyclical nature of business, something that happens on a regular basis and is quite predictable. Whereas flights, I mean, they can be predictable, maybe they go once a day, but also, yeah, you've got to consider what is your role within that potentially, or what is the relationship you want to that. Because realistically, they've both got a drive, they've both got a certain fuel. Also, like, flights are a lot more expensive longer term. Depending, they take a lot more fuel, they take a lot more energy to power. Don't get me wrong, tractor's a bit old-fashioned, but it doesn't have to be huge, right? To guarantee in pushing stuff forward. Now, any thoughts on that one?
No, I got some good. Yeah, I can see a lot of. Yeah, that's good.
Cool. Now, what's also interesting about this is one of the things that you mentioned in your form is when you are put under pressure, it's easier for you to do stuff. A lot of people find when they've got a deadline. I mean, I was always a great one of, last day, night before. That was me.
Yeah, me too.
But what's interesting is if we look at here, there's a continual pressure applied.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a continual pressure. I mean, this is your whole business. So there's a continual pressure there, keeps you going. Whereas here, you also mentioned it's a pressure. So, I mean, here you've got pretty solid backing for this specific situation. And I mean, you've got a pretty smooth understanding. I mean, you've got a rock solid understanding of it. Now, you've got the tools and all the parts that are left for this. I mean, they've got a certain elevation which allows you to access them easy. So you could reach over to what's left for you. But the right thing is actually quite comfy. And if you were to take steps in the right direction, I mean, it would be pretty laid back. Now, the path to this is quite natural and it's quite well, it's not quite straightforward. It's got these twists and turns. But I mean, there is a pretty clear path, even if it isn't a straightforward one. But what's interesting is you said the tree is applying pressure to you. And you said it's applying it because there's a wind blowing. Now, I personally don't know many oak trees that move when there's wind blowing to apply pressure. So your sensitivity to the pressure that oak tree must be providing must be pretty intense. So if it's one way to consider is if something is applying a pressure, well, you need two things to have a pressure. You need a pressure and you need a resistance. So it's not necessarily the tree applying pressure to you. Maybe you're just leaning back. You're allowing the solid, stable, secure, natural thing you've got going on in the background to support you.
Yeah.
So
okay.
why bother moving forward when
that one hits home. Okay.
Well, also the sun is shining, and most of the time, as much as the sun's ahead of you, you've got an oak tree, so there could be quite a bit of shade. If you were to progress, I mean, there are some trees ahead, but you could get burned. Who knows? But yeah. So we come to our lovely bicycle. We do, but yeah, but bicycle.
All right, hit me with it.
I mean, any other observations from your side? Or are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I got some good. I got some good information, Dale.
No, you're more welcome. Cool. So, if anything, in this situation, when you're putting things off, you can't do the right thing. There's no way to do what's right. There's a big barrier to what's right. And if anything, left is open. So what's quite interesting is if we look at this, you could explore what's left, but there's no real amiable direction. Like it's a big field. It's not just a field; it's a big field. So you could explore what's left. There's lots of stuff to do, but you not really know where you're going. There's no real key thing other than know it's a field. Similarly, the background to this is a bit dark, but similarly, it's a field. You're looking forward. Actually, no, you don't know what you're looking forward to because you can't see what you're looking forward to. We talk about away from motivation, like getting away from a problem, or maybe a bulldozer pushing us forward, potentially, or going towards something. And if we look here, there's nothing that you're getting away from specifically. I mean, maybe some dark times in the background. But where you going? You can't see a clear way forward. But I also know it's not your fault that you can't see a clear way forward. Because of the environment in front of you, it's pretty dense. So in order for you to progress in this, you would actually have to go into it. Because you can't see anything long term right now. You can only see essentially what's directly in front of you.
Right.
Oh, here's a question. What's underneath the bicycle?
Just the ground, like just like a, where you'd ride your bicycle like on pavement or a street.
Oh, okay. And does the path go forward or the street go forward? The only reason why I ask is because you said there's a big field to the left. So I was like, if you're on a bicycle in a field, that's probably not as conducive way of travelling. But at least you're on the right surface. You're on the right track. You're on the right path, potentially. You just got no fucking idea where it goes.
Yep.
What's interesting is you have a vehicle to get you there, and you have a vehicle that will get you there faster than if you were to walk. You have the infrastructure and support, but a crucial part, the part that has the drive, is disconnected. So if you want to take this vehicle to market,
Yeah.
you need to consider, okay, well, you need to reattach the drive because you can do all the legwork you want. But if you're not having that attachment, I mean, it's going to be a burden because you've got to carry this thing forward yourself. And it's going to be quite a slow and arduous process. I don't know if you've ever tried to walk a bicycle when you've got a flat tire. Freaking nightmare.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, because if you are to reattach the bike, you're not necessarily going to be as upstanding for a short time. Because by maintaining your positions, by keep handling on the direction in which you want to move, you're not actually fixing the problem.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you've got the tools to attach those things.
Well, I'm going to have to get my hands dirty, aren't I?
I mean, you said it better than me. You said it better than me. Grease up the gears, you know? Let's come to the last one. So I look at this person with a path ahead. She's got a very clear direction. She knows where she wants to go. And if anything, the vast majority of the places you look forward to, there's a clear outline, a clear path, a clear direction. It's quite natural. Well, what's right in front of you? I mean, you reflect on yourself. You're like, okay, well, what's right behind me, where have I come from, maybe? And you reflect on yourself. Anything that I've left behind, you reflect on yourself. What's left ahead, you reflect on yourself. So I look at this person, they've got a pretty polished, clear understanding of where they're at. Way too much fucking self-reflection. Because if you were to actually actively take steps in any direction, what's interesting about this is it's balanced. You're in a very balanced place. And if you look, what's far to your left is unknown. What's to your right is unknown. If anything, it could be said you very clearly know yourself. Or you at least know the image of yourself in the position you're in. But if you were to take a step in any of the directions, you would end up seeing less of yourself. and it'd be more outwardly focused on the environment you're in.
Mhm. Yep. And what's interesting is if you ever had a mirror in front of a mirror and you're in the middle and you can just see yourself for infinity, right?
Infinite reflection, yeah.
So yeah, it's like if the two corners are doing an infinite reflection of each other. And because this is specifically with regard to how much I'm going to charge for this particular product.
Infinite reflecting, and it's never ending.
Yep.
So let's just try something. Just close your eyes for a moment. So standing there, all those mirrors all around, path ahead. Let's just take a step back and tell me what you notice.
Well, I'm closer to the mirrors on these sides, but it just makes it seem like there's more of me reflecting in the ones up there.
And what happens?
It's a bit confusing, like feels unnecessary.
And how does that change things?
Well, it makes me want to move forward out of that position.
Okay, go back to the original position, take a step to the left, and tell me what you notice.
I can peek around the mirror.
And what happens?
I can see again, it's just an open field.
And how does that change things?
I know I could go that direction if I wanted to.
Cool. Go back to the original position, take a step to your right, and tell me what you notice.
It feels the same.
And what happens?
Well, then that opens up choice, doesn't it?
And how does that change things?
It takes some of the I realize it's my choice, and so it takes some of the pressure off.
Go back to the original position, take a step forward, and tell me what you notice.
These two mirrors are now like where they're beside me, but I can't see in them. And then the reflections of me in the back, I don't even turn around to look at.
And what happens?
I can go forward.
And how does that change things?
It puts me on the path, baby.
Nice.
I'm skipping.
Cool. Open your eyes.
Okay.
Nice. So let's do two more explorations, shall we?
Mhm.
Let's get to this one. So this one with the oak tree, standing there,
Okay.
oak tree at your back, couch to the right, tools, path ahead. Close your eyes and just take a step back and tell me what you notice.
It feels comfortable.
And what happens?
I can look up to the branch up to the branches up above.
And how does that change things?
Oddly enough, it's as if the branches in the direction that they're pointing create like a map, like a template or a map to follow.
Go back to the original position, take a step to your right and tell me what you notice.
What's over there again? I forget on this one.
It was the couch.
The couch. Well, I have been known to rearrange the furniture often. So I'm moving the couch, sort of just, I'm putting it like at an angle away from me, like that way.
Personally, I find it's a feminine problem. And what happens?
Well, it feels like it's not as necessary.
And how does that change things?
This gives me more space.
Go back to the original.
I don't feel as boxed in.
Got you. Go back to the original position, take a step to your left and tell me what you notice.
What's over there on this one again?
It was your tools
Oh, my tools, yes.
and parts.
I noticed that I enjoy working with those tools and those parts.
And what happens?
Well, then I start to tinker with them. Like,
And how does that change things?
it helps me put it all together.
Go back to the original position, take a step forward and tell me what you notice.
Feels like there's a hesitation, something's keeping me from going forward.
And what's the mechanism of that?
I'm being pulled back to the left. There's like a magnet of like a magnetic feeling that's pulling me back towards the table with the tools and the parts.
And what happens?
I just go back to the left.
And how does that change things?
I can finish building what I'm building.
Cool. Lovely. Very nice.
If you build it, they will come, right?
Unless it's shit. And you don't market it well, but we don't. It doesn't make the quote sound as good. Build it and they'll come unless it's rubbish and no one wants it. What?
Oh, that's why we're here, Dale. That's why we're doing this. Okay.
I can't guarantee your results, my dear. Unfortunately. Cool. I think we're going to leave that there. I think we're in a good place. Cool.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, observations, anything you would like to share about any of your experience?
I think what was very interesting was the last two. The one with the tractor, that one does involve other things that are outside of my control, so to speak, but they are in my control to some degree. But the last two, the one with the mirrors was really interesting to me because I do tend to do a lot of self-reflection. I like to learn from whatever I've made a mistake on in the past. It's like, how can I reflect upon that, shift it, change it, and then use that to go forward? But then that can become a point of stagnation too, to just stay in that place. And so knowing that whether I go right or left, it doesn't matter. Whether I do what feels right or whether I go with what's left, I'm going to get to where I need to go. So that was really helpful. Yes. As far as the pricing. And then I love the idea of taking the step back into the tree and looking up, because it seems like it's close, like the third eye and like everything that I've been wanting this project to be and building it to be. It's like the template and the map is there. And it's just always there as I go to the table to the left to put it together. So that was really helpful. I'll keep that image.
Cool. I'm going to do one more if you're open to it.
Sure.
So this product, this thing you're building, what's that like?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I know what it can be.
I don't want to know what it can be. I want to know what it's like.
What it's like. Is it what it's like for me or what it's like that I'm building for others?
What it's like.
What it's like. The first thing that came to mind, but I don't know, it's like a root system.
Okay, cool.
It's like a root system that goes out.
What's to your left?
A whole bunch of trees, different kinds of trees, but you can see through them. It's not like a dense forest. It's just like a whole, so you could walk through them.
There's a whole host of different trees. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's to your right?
A whole bunch of people, like a sea of people. Like, you know, when you go to a concert or cool. You go someplace where there's a lot of people.
Cool. What's in front?
In front is like gold bricks and bars, but they're it's like the yellow brick road. That's kind of what it's like. It's the yellow brick road. It's like all gold and
So
it's just sparkly and shiny.
is it a road?
Yeah.
So it's a road made of gold bars.
Yeah. Like a yellow brick road. Everything around is all sparkly and
What's behind you?
behind me is like a face going like, you know, when you see like the images drawn of like the wind, if someone was going to draw the wind, it would be like, so
Okay,
there's like
cool.
a
And what they're blowing what?
wind,
Okay.
air,
So is there wind blowing or is there like a face of the wind that's blowing?
a face of the wind that's blowing.
I'm going to draw it as like a little cloud. Cool. And what are you standing on?
I'm on top of the root system.
And cool. What's the dimension? So how far does the root system go out?
The root system goes out equally in all directions.
Cool. Root system. Cool. Does it get to the trees on the left and does it get to the sea of people on the right? And does it go, how does it interact with the yellow brick road?
It connects to the yellow brick road.
Cool. Does it integrate with it or not?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah,
like,
like
it's interweaved in the yellow brick road.
mm-hmm.
Cool.
It actually kind of goes underneath. It's like the yellow brick road is there because of this root system that's kind of underneath it.
Cool. So essentially, there you are, standing on your root system. So, are you attached to the root system?
No, I'm just standing. I can move my feet. I'm just
Okay.
standing on it.
Okay. Cool. So, what's to the right of this is a lot of people. I mean, you could say everybody's right, or you could say this is right for everybody, from at least your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's left is natural. There's space to explore. What's left there's also pretty defined things. Like, because what's interesting about trees, I mean, they're natural, they grow, they take time to mature. But also, if there's trees in space you can walk between, it means they've got their own individual resources. They stand out. So there's a lot of things left that are distinct that stand out for you. And there's something natural blowing you forward from the background. There's like an air to this in the background, which is creating movement. And you look forward to, I mean, the yellow brick road. I mean, it's maybe not quite Kansas. But what you look forward to, I mean, some would say is fun, light. I mean, others might say it's a bit of a fairy tale. But yeah, you look forward to a path that's a lot brighter than some of the other paths you've discussed. Now, it's quite clear that you're in the center of this system. You're
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of this root system. And realistically, this root system helps to integrate with the understanding of everything in the environment. It's really the core understanding of everything. And now root systems normally give nutrients, they normally give life, they normally create growth. But it also takes from the understanding. Now, the interesting thing about root systems as well is as much as they can keep grounding together, it can also destroy things and obstacles in the way. But realistically, what you're looking to provide is something quite natural. Could be said a natural understanding that everybody can get on top of if they want to.
That's true.
And it's under the surface. And for some, it goes pretty deep. For others, it can just be on the surface.
Oh, we'll have to revisit this after I launch it because that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny right there.
Beautiful.
Uncanny would be a better word. It's like woo, boom, smoking. There it is.
Lovely. Well, thank you for your time. I'm going to stop the recording now. And what would be great is if, when you do launch it, we have a touch base maybe a month or so afterwards to find out where stuff's at and then
Yeah.
we'll go for the debrief.
That'd be fantastic.
Beautiful. You're more than welcome, my dear.